Hey guys, it's Sky. I wanted to make sure that I stayed in touch with you and I plugged you calmly and smoothly every time that I talked to the light beings or we had communication or I had a download or something was going on with the planet. I promised you I would always be here. And they kind of promised me they would always be here with us too. So just before I before it gets too crazy with hearing all this stuff about there's a flight missing. Yes, I know that because I asked them about that and they did tell me information. And you also told me something very interesting that I just wanted to share with you before I get to the flight stuff. And that was kind of cool because it's just a strange validation, which I get a lot of validations all the time, but they said that they wanted to share this with a few other light workers because light workers would be very intuitive and they would be able to read and pick things up for themselves. But this is just kind of my own little way of recognition or just of understanding things. And they said there were so many. This was just one of many, 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 many. So I was talking to them one day, and I had a $20 bill right on my hand, and they said, "Take your $20 bill, and I want you to." It was faced like this way, and they said, "I want you to just listen to me, and just fold it." They said, "Fold it in like this." So that the $20 bill would look like that. And then I said, oh, all right, well, that's interesting. And then they directed me to look at the outside of, they said you have to keep looking past what you see, which they always tell me that. So they said when you start looking, once you look deep into the 20, and of course within the 20, you're going to see a bunch of 20s here within the 20, right? You see these. It's a light little 20s. You can see a bunch of 20s around that shape. They're very little fine prints, very very fine print. You have to hold it up to the light, which I never knew that yet. I didn't even pay attention to money like that. I don't analyze that stuff. I could care less about it. But anyway, they said you have to hold it up to the light, and they said you're gonna see little things in there, and you're going to see little 20s, and I said, okay, so there's 20s in there. Maybe everybody knows that already, but then they said, I want you to trace the shape of the outside of the 20s all around. Just trace it, and trace it out here of the white light, the white yellow light, the golden light. It's in a golden light. You can see the 20s are all in gold. And I want you to trace it. And I started tracing it, and then after I put it like that and I started to trace it, it came back to the exact disk shape of the planet. They used to call it Planet X. I think it's called Planet XX now, the return. And it is the exact shape of the Planet X. And I thought, oh my God, that's very interesting, because you can see the wings. And you can trace it. You can do this yourself. You can actually see the white, yellow, and then you can see the return of that because the return that you can see the exact symbol of the return of the Annunaki. This is the exact shape that is on the pyramids, the stones, and it's very similar. It's the exact shape around this. You can trace it yourself. And then I thought. So anyway, I let the meditation go, and I thought, well, that's interesting, because a lot of things they tell me are very interesting, and I just kind of ponder with them. But then the next day, I went back to them to speak with them, and they said, no, I want you to take this, and I want you to turn it upside down, and then I want you, and I can't do it now, it's kind of dark here, because it's nighttime, but they said, I want you to turn it upside down, which would be like this. And then I want you to look, I think it was on this side. And they just kind of said, look into it deep. So I looked into it deep, and there's a bearded man there with biblical faces on there, exactly like we see in biblical times of the Anu figure. So I just thought that that was the most interesting thing, that because they had told me, they said, regardless of what you see, the Freemasons and the dark cabal taking over, we have always hidden ourselves within and above them. So don't ever fear about this, ever. And I thought, well, I just thought I'd maybe keep this to myself. And they said, no, just share it with your fellow light workers, because they're going to be able to see and read even more and further, and take it to the steps for themselves. They're going to read it further than what I can for you. I could take this and I could probably read, and I could tell you the names. I could tell you what year they're coming in. I can tell you what, and I can tell you if they're here and when they came in and what angle they came in. But they're telling me to tell you to read it because everything is coded, and that that it wasn't just my thing, that it was your thing too. And so I just thought I would share that with you, because that was nothing I knew. That just kind of put it in my ears that day. And then I asked, and then also just little one thing before I forget, they're just telling me right now, they said, don't forget, they said when you do that, and again, I don't analyze the tree. This maybe somebody's already known this, but when you do that, you I don't analyze the bill. They said you had the tree of life, and that once we had acknowledged our tree of life and we have gotten through the entire tree of life, there was a missing piece here. There was a Melakuth piece that was missing, and you could even read it on here, this little piece, because you can see that there's a piece that's missing off of the full thing. It like interferes. They said when that was full, that there was going to be a return. So so I believe, and they also told me that they said a lot to do. Well, this leads me to Agartha. There's Agartha here, Agartha Shambhala. That's who is going to be helping us through this transition. It's not just the extraterrestrials. Well, extraterrestrials are down in Agartha. It's not just up. These guys are down here too. So thank God, and they're working with the new council of 12 that's running the planet. So anyway, I wanted to get back to the flight that they talked about, because I asked the beings, I said, what happened, with this flight? And they said that, and excuse me, they said that, I just wanted to bring this simple and casual. They said, if you watch my other video, they said, if you watch the past video, I'll tell you, I talked to you about China and how they had this technology, and how this technology was very superior, and why this event did not happen yet, because the event about disclosure, the event about disclosure, they said there was going to event. I told you there was going to be an event that was going to happen, that nobody on the planet was going to be able to deny that we had contact with extraterrestrial races. And excuse me, this thing happened in China where well, it didn't happen in China. What's going on, this is what they're telling me, and I just want to get this out before things get crazy and kind of conspiracies theory. That the light beings will tell you. You just have to meditate, ask them, or have them appear before you. A lot of light workers have them coming to them right now, and you yourself can ask. I always say, ask yourself. Go to God, say, God, I want to know absolutely the answers, and ask your higher self, ET form, to come in or appear, or the higher galactic, your ancestors, to come. And if you go to the high prime creator that you're part of, you will get answers. You're part of that. You're not separate to get answers. You're not somebody in the corner that's not going to be getting answers because one person does, one person doesn't. You have the same answer. So So anyway, they if you awaken to it, and they said that they had actually had this supreme technology in China, and that this 370 flight was an experiment of that technology. And it wasn't just China. They've been talking to me about a year now, for that the United States was going to get rid of part of the United States, and they were going to be trying to merge with China. Now, if that happens, I don't know, but they are trying to do that, according to how I see it. I mean, how I understand it, how I read the light beings, how I see them when I travel, or when I go out on my journeys on my remote view. I can see that they're trying to merge with China, and they take a lot of light workers up on ships. A lot of people know this. They take you up on ships, and then they'll bring you back, and they erase your memory. But because the sun came in, their sun is changing now. It's going to get a little bit entailed. The sun is changing. It's ignited our DNA a little bit better, so we can have our memory a little bit stronger when we come back from the ships. They don't always, when our memory's erased, it just gets a little bit stronger. We have more flashbacks, more memories. It's not quite as erased as it used to be. So that's why we are getting a lot more messages, and we can just report it to you, or you just get your own. You already understand. You understand what's going on. They did tell me so far. I really delicately say this, because I'm a people person. I'm fully in reality. As much as I'm able to read the galactic, the other dimensions, my feet are on the ground. I don't think you should mess with people's personality or people's hearts, and say things that are gonna torment them. But that right now, they told me that the people on the flight were safe, and they were still alive, and that I don't know, that they were going to, there were extraterrestrials involved, and there was a Pleiadians involved that were making sure right now that they were not going to get hurt. So I don't have any other information than that, except for that the people on the flight were not hurt. And this is what they tell me. And this is of now. This is of right now. This is all I can tell you while they're channeling me now. Sometimes they don't give me information. And sometimes when they give information, there's certain things they'll tell you that light workers, they're just not going to tell you. They're just not going to tell you, because you have to protect certain people. And in the end, you're going to get what you need to know. But they said that this is why, because I talked in my last video, I said that the dark cabal is trying to take planet Earth and move them to Mars, and that the ETs were stopping that, the higher ETs were stopping that. Just call them angels, prophecy people, whatever you want to call them. The masters, they had an ability to rotate it differently, and that's why there's a lot of rain, a lot of chemtrails in California right now, where they're pulling it down. They were trying to pull this back. They're trying to pull us back, and in pulling us back, they've shifted the axis a little bit, where this plane is not able to go on the grid, and the proper grids, so it lined up with a grid that shoot them into another porthole. Now the porthole, unfortunately, China has access to, and they have access to that because oh God, then they're starting to talk about it, something that Jesus, we could go in forever, but they have access to that. That's all you need to know. I'm going to take you back, because then it goes into Iran. They talk about Iran after that, and some deals that they make, because there's underground stargates. And this is what they say when you have an Akashic awakening, that they'll teach everybody. They're going to say everybody's going to know this. Everybody's going to know where the stargates are, where the government's tried to stop us, and where and all these things that were going on right now. So to sum it up, it's like because our planet is changing. That's why there's going to be earthquakes. they had put me in about 6 months before those earthquakes were going on in the Middle East, or not Middle East. I know there's got to be earthquakes going on in the Midwest, because about 6 months, well, about 6 months before they happened. No, God, it was way before that. Oh my God, I'd say, I don't know when they happened, but I know a couple years ago, they must be happening. A couple years ago, they had told me there's going to be movement in the middle. It's not in the middle of America. It's not supposed to be like that. So they said after that happened, that was another sign, and all the rain in California was another sign that they're rotating the Earth. That they're rotating the Earth right now. And then I talked about the moon. See, the moon was going to make the water get a little bit weird. It was going to get a little bit weird, and it was going to kind of rotate in a different direction. But see, the thing that's hard to talk to you about is I might say to you one thing, and I'm going to give you a probability this was probably going to happen. This is what's happening right now. That's what they show me. It's pretty much up to date. But the thing is, they can change that at any time. Creator God comes in and says that's not going to happen. Or I told you there's a new council of 12 that is running the planet right now, and they are making changes. They're making changes fast. They're not going to let these dark cabal people get away with stuff like they used to. And it's going to take it's going to take a minute. It's going to start to open people's minds, people's hearts, and that that the sun was going to come in very fast. It was going to come in and start to ignite our DNA faster than anybody could get away with controlling the planet. That it was up to us to ignite ourselves, and that we are igniting ourselves, and that more and more people were going to be awakening to what was going on. I could talk about a little bit more about the ships and how the transformation is going to take place, because they've talked to me about that quite a bit, but because they're telling me they're trying to trick us right now about bringing the attention up in the air. That was very important to stay focused on the ground, because this is when they're trying to a little bit rotate the Earth, and because we're focused on something else that that was kind of pressing, that we weren't going to pay attention to the other stuff. And the first thing I thought when that 370 plane happened, I thought that plane's not even real. That's just a holographic thing. But then they explained to me that's not the holographic part. They explained to me what I said to you earlier. The holographic part is their technology that they're working with. And this plane was an experiment of that technology. And so the Palladians, they said that there's it's gonna sound so crazy. It's just what they say. They said that there's a part of, see, everybody wants to believe that all these Palladians are wonderful, and there's the part of those Palladians, you know, when we sent out a stress call, we broke off. Part of our government broke off with the shadow government. They worked with part of this alien Palladian governments. Not all Palladians are good. They're just not. I'm sorry. Not all Greys are bad. But there is a good part of Palladians, and they are back to rectify things. They are back to rectify, and I think they might be coming in to help us here to there's some there's some undercover Palladians that are working with the government that they think they're dark, and they're not. They're light, and that was gonna kind of come forth, and this technology that was able to take this plane off planet has to do with some of that technology that we got from the Greys a long time ago. But because of the Palladians, Palladians and some Greys have evolved, and some Zeta Reticulars, they're not all bad, have they're going to make sure that that everything pans out. They're behind this. So anyway, I mean, I don't want to get particular in groups because I can't, you can't, it's just not like that. I'm just trying to give you a wide variety of it's not just like one group, it's just not one thing. They do not operate that. It doesn't work like that. They want to give you, put everything in one group to trick us. Oh, be careful of the grays, be, you know, it's just this group is helping us. It's just not like that. It's not like that. So anyway, I just wanted to clarify a few things, and I hope you are enjoying your search. And every time they talk to me, I'm gonna talk to you. I want us to be prepared because we're going into a different state now, and you're gonna see things that are not real. They're holographic, and we have to be able to decipher between that. And remember I told you they go only certain dimensions, so we want to be working the real high dimensions. You have to get your heart right with God, with your creator and your source, and when that's right, you have your own answers. So anyway, I just thought I thought I would help. I thought that would help. And if I get any update on the plane or whereabouts, or if they're tricking us on what you see, I'm gonna let you know. So okay, thanks you guys.